Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners. This is Comeza Radio Africa, the voice of Comeza, the organization everybody wants to be associated with. The mind, the journey, the destiny. We apply our mind to the journey that takes us to our destiny. That is our philosophy. It is about the plugged and active mind. It's about sharing mind, futuristic mind, and inquiring mind. The journey is about enthusiastically promoting our ideas, giving as we learn, retaining and investing our learnings, searching for the new opportunities, and ensuring that we achieve the destiny that is productive and profitable, that is socially responsible and caring, that it guarantees growth and sustainability, and ensures that we continuously renew ourselves and survive the challenges that we are naturally faced with. We inform and entertain, we develop and educate, we empower and support, we associate and network. That is the idea. We are a business and professional management services 24/7 internet streaming radio station. We broadcast music and talk shows across the world. The objective is to use the African storytelling and the Lekgotla conversation methodology in offering career coaching, education and learning guidance, continuous professional development, enterprise and entrepreneurship development, and connecting supply to demand. Our talk shows aim to affirm and support business professionals and entrepreneurs in their personal and professional journey of bringing a difference to the world. These are talk shows that recognize excellence and greatness. Professionals and entrepreneurs are invited as a recognition of the great contribution they are making to humanity. We have a network of associates, members and stakeholders who know our quality standards and therefore make recommendations to our production team. The conversations become lifelong account of our guests' work since they are recorded on Spreaker Studio and distributed on Comeza Africa Podcast, Spreaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and many more other platforms to be added on later. We are building a solid ecosystem of professionals and entrepreneurs that are committed to the empowerment of others, collaboration across sectors, sharing of insights and knowledge, building a base for succession and inheritance, and safeguarding the legacies for generations after us. We inherited these legacies from our forefathers and mothers, not to waste them, but to pass them on to generations after us. That is our duty and responsibility. My name is Sam Zimmer. I am the CEO and Executive Business Coach at Comeza GOC International. You're welcome to visit our website using the address www.comeza-goc.com. The same principles that govern our organization govern our radio broadcast program. And those principles are win-win approach, holistic mindset, competency development, demanding accountability, ethical inclusive practice, and progressive transformation. You are welcome to join us as a member at Comeza Friends and Supporters Club, NPO, and that can be done online at www.comezaclub.africa. And that way you become part of an initiative of continuously inspiring professionals and entrepreneurs to make a difference that matter to our society. You are free to send us messages via email at callcenter@comeza-goc.com. Let me welcome my guest, Sydney Metro Hatebe. Greetings, my brother.
Greetings, Sam. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. Good to have you being my guest and conversation partner. It's not an interview.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
My office might have said you are going to be interviewed, but let me say it up front. We're going to have a conversation that will hopefully inform people about the work that you do at the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund.
Yes.
How are we doing in terms of body, mind, spirit under this lockdown?
Body, mind, body, I'm actually keeping myself fit under this strenuous environment, and my mind is renewed on a daily basis through, reading the scriptures and ensuring that I'm transforming all the old thoughts and thinking about the new.
Yes. Once an athlete, always an athlete. Eh?
You cannot live without training.
Yeah. But one thing I always say that when I used to play football, you will know very well.
Yeah.
The trainers always say to us, listen, you must reach a super fitness level.
Yeah.
And once you reach that level, it's always very, very easy to regain it later.
Yeah.
It might not be the same as when you are still active in competitive sport, but your body knows exactly how to respond and give you that sense of feeling of fitness like you used to be.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah.
But then also something that we never really used to take serious is the fitness of the mind.
Yeah.
That is very important, because if the mind is not fit, the body sometimes just give up. Yeah.
It collapses.
Yeah. So you need the balance of all the body, the mind, and the spirit.
Yeah.
And I know you are very much big in spirituality issues, and I hope you're keeping on with those during these difficult times.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah. Great. And I normally invite people to this platform to talk about their professional journey. Yours is going to be a little bit different, because I want us to focus on initiatives that you have started at the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. But just to give people a little bit of a taste of how we normally do it, let's go back to early days growing up in Amersfoort. Is that your home?
Yes. I was born at Amersfoort. Yeah, it's a very small town in Mpumalanga.
Yes, I remember driving past that isolated town, going to Newcastle, driving from Middelburg. And for me, it was like an exploration. I was really on an exploration drive, because it was the first time that I drove from north to that direction. And when I saw this place, it looked like an old farm community that has been there for years, peaceful, and you must be owning a large piece of land there. It looks like land is galore there.
There's plenty of land, yeah. They're still doing agriculture and so forth, yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps, who is Sydney Hatebe, and how was it growing up in Amersfoort in Mpumalanga?
So I was born there, in a very, very, not a very big family. And I grew up studying there, studied semi-secondary school, moved from Amersfoort primary school, and then I had to go to the secondary school. Then, because of some reason, then I moved out and had to go and, finish my matric at Brayton. And subsequent to that, when I finished, because of, no funding and so forth, then I had to go and focus on playing football. Because I couldn't find one. So I ended up in Nelspruit. So I spent most of my time really in Nelspruit, where I found, a breakthrough where I started teaching without matric. and because I passed mathematics and science and all. So I thought I was
Yeah.
I wanted to go and study first, but they couldn't. They rejected me for 5 years.
Wow.
Until I get an opportunity where I had to go through and through football, where I had to they had to receive me. I think the coach was John Lake at that time. So, and they said, no, they were going to take me in sports. And then I said, okay, fine. Why can't I not study here now that I'm here?
But then you had your grade 12 when you joined Wits Football Club.
Yes. I had my grade 12, but I had also a bit of experience because I was teaching without any qualification. For 5 years. So then they received me there. Yeah. So
I know we are going to revisit your journey one of the good days, but I think fast forward, you completed your studies at Wits. You were studying engineering, right?
I studied geology, so I'm a trained geologist who never practiced geology.
One of the good days we will own that mine that you can practice your geology.
Yeah, so fast forward, then when I completed, then I went back and did some teaching. I taught for about a couple of years and went to work for IC and then went to Standard Bank as a CSI, Corporate Social Investment Manager. Subsequent to that, I went to IBM and I spent a couple of years in IBM, I think more than 8 years, as a head of Corporate Social Investment for IBM.
Yes, and my recollection is that you did reach the professional level of football. When some of us let go and continued, you did both. You continued studying and then played professional football. And I remember, I think that was the time when I was out of the country, when you then moved from Wits and then you joined Morocco Swallows. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
That's why you are mostly popularly known as Metro, not as Sydney.
So actually, when I moved from Wits University, I had to go to Val Professional. So I was actually traveling every day to Val.
Oh, yes.
Come back and study. And then the opportunity came to Morocco Swallows, then it was much easier because I was central.
So you managed to achieve both your dreams, playing football, getting educated, and of course, not both, triple their dreams, and also working in corporate.
Yes. I think, I wouldn't complain much.
I wouldn't compare myself with you because for me it was quite a clear cut. When I left the country to live in Germany, soccer at the professional level as an ambition had to take a back seat. I played amateur football in Germany, I must say, and I must say that it felt as if I was still playing at professional level here in South Africa then. Because soccer there is a soccer fanatical country. It doesn't matter what level you are at. Professionalism is just the way of the day.
I think you're better off because you're overseas than us here.
I don't think many will agree with that, but I must tell you that I did taste what it means to play football in Germany. It's just too serious. It's just taken too serious from any level upwards. But what I like is that that Wits prepared me because in Germany football is very much integrated into education. The two are not seen to be competing. They are actually complementing each other.
Wow, I think that's what we also need here in South Africa to try and integrate it.
Yes, and I think with people like yourself, myself, people like Eugene Zwane and Howard Fries and Mike Ndombela, those players that were always there because they had to go and study and they ended up actually doing both. And not to underestimate the role that others who didn't take our direction are playing. Those who went to play overseas, all those. I think we can put our heads together. We don't need to all have positions. It's not about positions. It's just about building the society. And I'm very glad that somebody like yourself has really cracked it in corporate to end up working for Standard Bank and IBM. And now you are. You're finding yourself at the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. Who doesn't want to work for Madiba's organization?
Yeah, it's a privilege. Yeah.
It's a privilege. So maybe while you are there, let's move out of our own old memories and talk about what we intended to talk about. For those who don't know the work of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, can you just give us a little bit of insights into what is the mission of the fund, what is the fund all about, the type of work it does, and maybe also concluding with what your role is currently there?
Okay, no, thank you so much for the opportunity to give us this platform to talk about the Mandela Children's Fund. The organization, as most of the people know, it started in 1995, and we are celebrating 25 years of existence.
Wow.
It's
a milestone, yeah?
It's a milestone. As we know that Nelson Mandela actually spent one third of his salary to establish the organization, whose main vision was to actually change the way society treats its children. So he set up this organization, and we are there to actually ensure that the needs of the children and also the youth are being taken care of. There was a study that was done, and intensive studies in terms of looking at the focus areas of where would the fund would start looking at the issues. And that study was very intensive, and it came up with 4 focus areas. And one of the focus areas was actually child survival, development, and thriving, which basically looked at the first 1,000 days of the life of the child. Because there's a lot of, what the study picked up is that there was a lot of mortality rate that was happening. So, and we, as we all know, that children under the age of 5, they actually need to survive. So that's why that focus area was actually, taken as one of the key programs that we needed to do. Not only that, it was actually focusing on also working with the health system, because we know that there are a lot of challenges within our health system, and to look at how the health system can respond to the needs of both, the mother, the family, but also look at how they can be supported in various ways. And the other part, then is, the study found that safety is a major issue. So one of the programs is called Child Safety and Protection, which basically looks at the issues that the research actually found that in our society there's a lot of gender-based violence, the issues of bullying, sexual abuse, violence against children and also against women, and also in schools there's a lot of corporal punishment. So those are the issues that we were actually considering, much more important to look at. And actually, the role of the fund is to actually create awareness, looking at how those issues can be identified, the gaps and the research area, and also look at how we can create some awareness, both public awareness to all those kind of issues. And then the third part was around the program was around youth leadership development program, and we know that the country cannot survive without youth. We need to be able to create leaders that are going to take the baton forward. Since Madiba and all these other leaders have left, he realized that there is a need for us to be able to create change agents. There were programs that the fund has been running all past 25 years, and now we're looking at how we can actually develop leaders that can be entrepreneurial in their thinking, solve these difficult kind of problems, but also create a think tank of leaders that are going to also share and engage strategically on various platforms, including issues that are related to human rights, for example. So how do we facilitate engagement in putting the youth at the center of issues that are affecting them and able to make decisions? Now, the last program, which basically cuts across all these other programs, both sustainable basically we work on the ground with relevant partners to help us to work with these families that have been identified in the various prioritized provinces to address those issues. So the other last one, the hospital, which we all know is at the center of Johannesburg, which actually provide spatial evidence-based patient care and coronary facility. It's so huge, it is wonderful, and we've got...
Just move a little bit around. It sounds you are fading a little bit, if you don't mind.
Getting closer to the mark, yeah.
Yeah.
So we think that the last initiative that actually was started by Mandela is the hospital that is based at the center of Johannesburg.
That's the children's hospital.
Yes. So it is under the fund. So basically, we are here to ensure that we drive his vision on all these, I call them assets, because we need to nurture them, we need to grow them, we need to make sure that they are sustainable over a period of time. Now, you asked me a question in terms of what is my role in terms of that. So I've been asked to come and assist. So my role is Business Development and Resource Mobilization Director.
Yes.
So basically working with the managers to ensure that we are able to leave a legacy that is going to live beyond our time. So, and I think that is very, very critical. And from the business perspective and the business focus also is that we want to create sustainability. From my end of exploring, some of the partners that can be able to come in and invest both in the fund and the hospital. I work with colleagues, for example, Nadine and Angel Brecht, who is actually one of the managers that is also in the fundraising department, and Agnes Kamberi also is also helping them, but they're more focused on hospital. But we work as a team because we are one the fund. And then the other part from the business level is to look at institutional funding, the balance between designated fund and non-designated fund. As we know that there's a lot of challenges around that part, where, the funding, market is actually shrinking, and there is a lot of work that needs to be done there. So we have to come up with creative ways on how to reach the balance, not highly dependent on external funding, but also trying to come up with, sustainable solutions to get past, and so forth. So basically, that's my role as building also these fundraising brands, the programs that I've actually mentioned to ensure that they become relevant and attractive to people who actually want to come and partner with us. For example, one of the key fundraising brands is Nelson Mandela Challenge. How do we actually use that to ensure that we are able to also just go beyond like a game, but integrate it into programs that we do, leverage on infrastructure that is available from both ends, and be able to mobilize all South Africans to come together, to unite. Sports is a unified.
Yeah.
And Nelson Mandela used it as a means of just bringing people together and crushing those racial barriers and reconciliation, and bringing people together. So we need to come up. We need to sustain that. Now that he has done it, how do we maintain, sustain, improve, and ensure that it benefits not only the fund, but it also benefits South Africa, and the world.
And you coming from the corporate side, having spent a lot of time with IBM and now being this side of the coin, what are the synergies that you see between corporate and an organization like Nelson Mandela Children's Fund that needs to be exploited positively to benefit the children and the country at large?
Yeah, so yes, I think that's a very important question. There's a lot going on at the corporate side that I don't think it is actually exposed much more on the NGO side. So the opportunity is there. For example, the triple BE codes of conduct. I mean, we've got about 9 areas that NGOs can actually leverage from. But I think also it's important for NGOs to. I'm not only talking about fund. I'm just talking about the NGOs.
Yes.
Is that to be able to leverage on that, they need actually to be structured. They need to have more information about the legal framework. What are the limitations, and be able to have strategies on how to go around them. And also collaboration is very important because, and sometimes organizations in the sector, they want to compete instead of collaborate. It's much more better to collaborate, but also collaborate with like-minded organizations. So what happens is that when you come in as an organization with a certain focus, and now you find that there is a funding that is coming, but it doesn't necessarily aligning into focus. Now the problem, because you are looking for the money, then what you do now, you divert. And you get yourself into, I would say, into prison. Because you start doing things that you are not, that are not aligning to your vision, to your mission, and you and that is a problem. So I think that's what we actually also as Nelson Mandela Children's Fund to be looking at, working with like-minded partners and try and create that they do and explain that kind of impact we want to add to that. So it's a partnership. So it's not like they're just giving the money, but also adding value to that. So there are a lot of other areas that I can mention that over the past few years I've actually looked at. It's important also for organizations to invest in their own capacity, having relevant skills within the organization. It's better for an organization to actually invest internally than having to depend externally for support. I'm talking about skill set, because now if you've got a skill set, then you can be able to grow the organization, not to be reliant on external support. So and that gives an advantage in terms of trying to grow the organization and create sustainable revenue income stream. Because a lot of money goes to administration, for example, because there's lack of skill. We want to do something that is entrepreneurial, then you have to ask for a service provider to help. Why can't we use that as an opportunity to develop a skill and therefore adding into skills development? And according to Triple B, then you can leverage from the fund that is speaking to that. So we have to think creatively in terms of how we can be able to achieve that. So there are various other issues. I cannot mention all of them, but I'm just mentioning a few that I think are critical for an organization to succeed. And maybe from the business point of view, and what I believe in my few years that I've worked at IBM, that I think are very important to consider is around the culture. Creating a culture of winning. And once you start getting into the culture of winning, then you are able to think creatively on how you can move forward in terms of building an organization. Creativity, innovation. Now we are coming with innovative programs. Given this kind of COVID-19, is because if people are able to get into their passion and their drive, you can actually channel that energy and allow the people to be able to, that have not been done before, take projects that have never been done before. And then in such a case, there might be risk, but what is important is that, you may end up, getting proper results for the company. Now, the second part is around embracing customer and market needs. A lot of time, if you look at it, there's a lot of change in the market, but organizations, they are refusing to change. So we need to be able to align and to be relevant and to be current into the needs that are required right now. For example, one of the key focuses around in the fourth industrial revolution. What are the skills that we need right now? Because we know that we're in the wisdom age. We've moved from information age and wisdom age. So that data is those skills are.
Move around again, we're losing you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but just repeat that, we're missing you there.
Okay, so I was saying that one of the main important things is to embracing evolving customer and market needs.
Yes.
Because of the changing environment, like Corona, for example, the needs of the clients are changing. As we were just speaking earlier, is to say that the way of work is going to change. So, are we as organizations ready to embrace that change? Systems in place for us to revolution. With a global team of leaders that have been talking about fourth industrial revolution 4 years back. The Smart Cities program that we did with all the cities like KZN, city of KwaZulu-Natal, Cape Town, Johannesburg, and city of Tshwane. It was around the same concept. I mean, if at that point we're able to be best placed to do that. Now, coronavirus won't be responding to it or reactive to it, but will be ready for it. So,
lovely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 5 programs that you have mentioned, such as for the benefit of people out there. You have the 4 programs that they've been informed by the research that was done, and then ultimately define the model through which you impact on the beneficiaries out there. So you basically, this is what you as a fund offers to the community out there as programs, and how do you roll out those programs in those communities, and how do you determine which communities require which type of a program?
Yeah, so maybe when we talk about selecting the community, actually we're informed by the research in terms of where the major need was, and based on the need, and then we selected those areas, and that's how we actually selected them. And how we work is that we find relevant partners who specialize on those specific needs.
Yes.
And then we partner with them, because we don't want to partner with people who are not actually.
So the fund doesn't really doesn't really itself run the programs, but it partners with the local organizations that are in those communities, right?
Yes. That's what actually we do.
So when you're looking for funding and you get funding for specific programs, it's not really funding for the fund. Is actually funding for all the partners that are involved in the rollout of a particular program.
Yeah, so we've got the role to play in terms of actually managing the program and ensuring that we also build capacity, sustainability within the areas where we play. So yes, our model is working with collaborative partners, including government, including. Like for example, with the first 100 days of a child with Department of Health.
Yes.
But we are clear in terms of what their role is and what our role is and what is the role of our implementing partner.
So it's very inviting for organizations in various communities in the country to know that they can be key role players in partnering with the National Nelson Mandela Children's Fund in addressing the needs of their communities in as far as children is concerned, right?
Yes.
But they will have to be first approved and appointed and capacitated.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, what we want to do is that when we go into the community, we want to leave a community able to be self-sustainable, Before we came in, maybe there might be issues, but when we come out, actually, we want to leave that community challenges, having come in and put those systems in place.
The child survival and child protection programs, that is quite very straightforward. It's quite clear. You are assisting the mothers to make sure that their children survive, and when they've survived, then they are protected against all the ills of the society. What is not clear is the sustainable livelihood and the youth leadership programs. Can you just say a little bit more about that?
Okay. Yeah, with the leadership program, it's mainly working with the youth in the country to try and actually, work with them so that they can be able to facilitate, some kind of engagement with all the leaders in the country to be able to understand the issues and be able to come up with ways of resolving those kind of issues. And also, opening some kind of engagement platforms for them to engage with various issues. And also looking at how do we build entrepreneurship, for example, for them to come up with programs that can actually alleviate some of the social challenges that we have. For example, they do it in many other ways. They organize youth summits with, for example, one of the programs which is called Children's Parliament, where we select children across the country which are part of our platform to engage with the leaders on issues that affect them. And that in itself, ensures that, when the leaders, they are making decisions, they've considered also their input. As you know, that sometimes when we make issues, we don't actually involve them in what they do. So we play that sensible in terms of that. But just the main point is to let them to be agents of change.
Okay. And the sustainable livelihood program?
When it comes to sustainable livelihood program, is to actually looking at how we work with the ecosystem of the community, where we actually have started to look at how, whilst we're still trying to get the child to be to survive and also to be protected, but how do we also support the families? Because there might be urgent needs, for example, for families to survive. Yes. There might be needs for families for child help. The children who do not have actually the parents. They may not have anything. So we come up with programs that can be able to sustain them for that period. In the long term, to be able to create sustainability of certain kind of income within the environment, where they can be able to be involved in maybe farming, or they can be involved in software, or whatever it is that can actually try and help them to...
So it's an element of economic activity that...
Yes.
That they can use to source resources for themselves.
Yes. Even if it includes, doing agricultural projects that will also involve other partners to work with us. So we are thinking strategically right now to say, how then can we grow that to a point where we also involve the other sectors to come and support those families so they can actually grow and be able to, have something to survive on.
Wow. And so if I'm a funder and I'm listening to this talk, do I have a choice as to which of the 5 programs, including obviously the hospital, do I have a choice which I would like to support, or you have a big pot where everybody put money in and then we decide which percentage goes to which program?
Yeah, so the funder may be interested, for example, depending on what the funder's focus is. And if you look at the 4 projects, one way or the other, one of the programs will be suitable for that. So what we do is that we then, if it is a designated, sometimes then the funder will have a specific need that speaks to the specific program. So it may be a designated funding. So it means we will just work with the funder to try and reach out to the community together and achieve those objectives.
Or the funder might find himself or herself in a region where a particular problem is prevalent and it fits in a particular program of the 4, or we could almost say 5 because there is the hospital as well. So I'm just trying to find out if the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund is amicable to complying with the needs of a funder rather than say, this is what we are all about, you either fit in here or not, otherwise we don't need your money.
Yeah, so currently we are focused on the, I would say, the hospital. So they, as I've said before, on the natal, we go to anyone right now to ask for funding, but if they give us specific focus, then we look at where it fits within the 4 program, so that we are more aligned into what we say we'll do. Remember, if it speaks to the issues that are already there, then it means there is a partnership.
Yes.
And if it is outside of these 4 pillars for now, because we're actually even looking at how we'll move going forward. But for now, this is what we are actually focusing on. Anything outside of that, then we will not be able to consider that partnership. Yeah.
In the 25 years of Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, what has been the lessons in as far as do programs tend to be once off, or are they annual, or are they long term, or is it a combination of all those? What is the trend? What has been the general trend in the last 25 years? When you look into the history, obviously you were not there throughout, but I'm sure you must have looked into the history.
Yeah, I think the colleagues when you call them, they will give you more information. But what we've realized is that there are partners that have been there for long, and of course there are interventions that have come over a short period of time. So when I'm taking long, maybe 5 or more years, and some there are lesser than that. So I think the general trend, and I think even going forward, is to look for a long-term partnership, because it's much more relevant than having just to have short-term. But though short-term also is going to help us to address some of the needs based on the availability of funds, we'll also consider it.
Like for instance, right now, under COVID, there might be urgent needs to assist some of your programs to go past this tight time.
Yes,
so there could be urgent, immediate funding needed so that the programs that maybe are long-term don't get disrupted because of just this COVID thing, right?
Exactly. So that's where the agile and flexibility and adaptability comes into play. So where we really, where we can be able to help, because we cannot say probably it's not our focus. And there's a need that is there, and we are able to help. Definitely.
Just out of experience, coming from corporate, having worked also with the NGOs and the communities on various type of projects, and now at Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, what is the tendency of funders, either local or global, in terms of what drives them? Do they prefer to fund a reputable organization, or they have a tendency to find a meaningful project, or is it sometimes a combination? I always ask myself, do people fund an organization because they like the name of the organization, or the founder of the organization, or they like the programs that the organizations are doing? Or maybe perhaps ask, being direct, what do you put emphasis on? Do you put emphasis on the name Nelson Mandela, or do you put the emphasis on the programs and the communities, or do you have, or is it a combination?
Yeah, I'll speak based on the experience on organizations that.
Sorry, just shift again. I think I'm losing you again. The connection is not good.
Yeah, the question
it's still very bad. Just move around.
Okay, cool. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I'm saying that it depends upon each company. I mean, you're talking about global company like So it's very important. I mean, most of the companies, what they consider is that your governance should be properly set up, and also and how you use your funds. Accountability in some organizations is very, very, very important, but also the credibility of the organizations. For example, if I had to choose an organization, I do a due diligence check in terms of who the organization is partnering with, what is their track record in terms of the way they've been doing things. So it's very, very important for organizations also to position themselves when it comes to the issues of social media and all of that. Because if your brand is not reputable, it's unlikely that you can actually receive funding from any funder. So funders, they are very, very
And I assume you can safely say that the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund has proven itself. 25 years is a long time. And since Madiba has been gone, the organization continued. So probably it's not necessarily just the name. It must be the experiences over those years.
Yes, it's a huge value add. But also in terms of the programs themselves, and the track record and the impact that they've made in the community, it also alleviates that kind of a profile. So,
who are the colleagues that you work with that are responsible for these programs?
Yeah, so for the Child Survival and Development and Thriving Program, we've got a manager called Shadi Yokong, and she's been there, for I think for more than 20 years. I'm not sure whether it's 25 but she's been there since Mandela was here. And also Mampiri and Zeri, she's looking after child safety and protection, and for Sustainable Livelihood Program we've got Mapule Chila. She's also been there for quite a long time. So if you look at the colleagues that we have, they've got substantial amount of experience around the programs. They're so amazing.
And they must have a very strong connection in those communities as well, right?
Exactly. They've created long-term relationships, both in the private and in government, and so it makes it very easier, to be able to also position the programs well. And then we've got youth development program, currently NOMTI, with our community, our comms and comms director, communications director at the fund, and Eunice Mutsepe, they're actually, looking after that portfolio for now. But we're still working in terms of how we can make that program relevant to current issues that are currently faced with the youth. And we've also employed like three youth, who are amazing. They're working also at the fund to try and actually help us to shape this kind of portfolio.
And when we talk about fundraising initiatives like what you and I are going to talk about now, the Nelson Mandela 67-kilometer virtual marathon, when we do such initiative and you do fundraising, you don't necessarily pinpoint them to a particular program. That will be the initiative to bring money together to add to whatever funding that you might be having, to direct the money to wherever the need is, right?
Yeah, sure. So it's a non-designated funding.
I see.
So when it's an income that we can actually use in either one of the programs. But we work with the community to help us to drive that, especially for the visual race that you've just mentioned. Yeah. Okay.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, I want us to talk specifically about it's a new race, right, that you have created. It's an innovation that comes out of the COVID-19 lockdown conditions, challenges, but it could become something that you take forward into the future from this year on, right?
Yes.
All right. Let's take a break, and then when we're back, we look at the fundraising initiative itself.
Okay, then.
Thanks.